2025 was a hell of a year, and it started off. I caught my dad cheating on my mom. So growing up, my dad was the one that always took me hunting and fishing, and over the years, I've just stuck with it. And I grew up here in Columbia. That's what's really cool about this place. There's something for everybody, it seems like. Honestly, we really didn't have a lot. We grew up, like every small town family, I feel like. We sat around the supper table every night and blessed the food. I grew up going to church and everything like that. I guess it was when I was 18, my granddad asked me what I wanted to get for Christmas. I told him, I said, I don't really want anything for Christmas. I want you to teach me how to play guitar. And so he did. He taught me G, C, and D on the guitar so that I could play all the Hank Jr. songs and stuff like that, Merle Haggard. And so I'm the only one in my family born here in Tennessee. The rest of my family's from Eastern Kentucky. And so at all of our family functions, Christmas and Thanksgiving, everything like that, everybody would bring an instrument and play bluegrass music. Well, I was the one that always grabbed the extra piece of pie, and sat in the corner and watched everybody play music and have a good time, because I didn't know how to play anything. And so that's why I told him I wanted to learn how to play guitar. Shortly after that, I found out that I liked writing songs. I had always wanted to write songs. I felt like I kind of had an ear for music in a way, and so the first song I ever wrote, it was called Gone Before Goodbye. Looking back, it was absolutely terrible. So I went to school. When I say school, I never went to college. I went to high school. Honestly, I was thinking about going to school, like college, to be a game warden. But then I realized how much I really hated high school. To kind of buy some time, went to work for the city, and I was the guy that cut the grass in the medians of the road. I met a guy named Jansen, and I went up to him and introduced myself and told him that I wrote songs. And keep in mind, at the time, I'd probably written less than 10 songs total at that time. And I ended up going up to him, told him what a fan I was and that I wrote songs, and that it would mean the world to me if he would listen to some of my music. And his wife spoke up. She ended up giving me her email on the back of my sushi receipt. And I guess because my mama raised me right, I was like, yes, ma'am, that'd be great, thank you. And Chris looked up at me and he was like, did you just say yes, ma'am? I said, yes, sir. And he said, I like that. Pull up a chair and talk to me. So I did. And as soon as I got out to my truck and we said our goodbyes, I pulled out that receipt that his wife wrote her email down on, and I sent 3 or 4 of the best songs I thought I had at the time to that email. And at the bottom of the email, I put, if y'all ever need anything, here's my number. And I wrote my phone number down at the bottom of that email. Well, fast forward about 2 weeks later, it was like a Wednesday morning. I'm literally weed eating a ditch, and I felt my phone ringing in my pocket. I pulled it out, and the caller ID just said Jansen. And I answered it. I was like, hello. And he said, hey, this is Chris Jansen. I was like, what's going on, man? And he said, oh, not too much. He said, my wife played me them songs you sent us, and he said they're good. And anyway, long story short, Chris told me to put in my 2-week notice and come out on tour with him that day. I put my weed eater back in my work truck that day, and I drove to the main shop and I filled out my 2-week notice, and I went out on tour with Chris a few weeks after that. I met with one big label in town, one of the biggest, and I thought everything went well. Shortly after that, literally probably a week after that, I signed the papers on my first record deal, and within about a month of me signing the dotted line, I started making my first record. Anyway, everything was going well, and I had that song. It got to 14 on the chart. I met Chloe, my now fiance. I closed on my first house. After I closed on my first house, they had pulled How It Ought to Be from radio because it just died out. And after they pulled it from radio, my record label dropped me 3 days after I closed on my first house. And I had no idea how I was going to pay my first mortgage or anything like that. I was scared to death. Chloe is the best thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life. And I'm so, so blessed to have her. And I prayed for her. And I prayed for a lot. You know, I think if you pray for opportunity, God will put things in your life that maybe at a certain time and place, you're like, this can't be God doing this, but at the end of the day, it is. I prayed for opportunity in this business. I got dropped from my record label. Well, shortly after that, I got signed to a new record label called Triple Tigers. And I have a song in the top 50 already at country radio with them. 2025 was a hell of a year. And it started off, I caught my dad cheating on my mom in January of 2025. And like I told y'all, my dad was the one that I grew up hunting and fishing with. And so seeing something like that and having to experience that from the person that was your superhero, it's just really a smack in the face. Anytime that I'm home and I'm not hunting or fishing, I go to Nashville and I write songs every day. And so the day that we wrote this song, I guess I'd been crying the whole way home. And she could tell it when I walked in the door. And she says, "You have a good day today?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Did you get a good one today?" I said, "Oh, yeah." And then this was 2 weeks after I caught my dad cheating. And she said, "It's about your dad, isn't it?" I said, "Yeah, it is." So she asked if she could hear it. And I played it on the Alexa there in the kitchen. And we stood there and we listened to it 4 or 5 times back to back to back. And each time we cried a little harder. And I've been playing this song, "You Could Do Anything," live now for... I've been playing it out now probably like 5 months or so. I had no intentions of anybody ever hearing it. I really didn't. I just wrote it for myself. Whenever I played it for Chloe, she said, "Shane, people probably need to hear this song." I was really just so close-minded to the idea because, like I said, I'm not one to talk about my feelings at all. I stick to writing songs about them. But what good is there writing a song about it if nobody ever hears it, you know?
Make a good buddy out of any old junkyard dog I would want to buy. You could break any bolt that was wrenched too tight. Run the boogeyman out of my room at night. Yeah, it's crazy to think that you could do anything, but you couldn't love Mama right. No. Do anything but say I'm sorry and try to make it right. Anything but fight like hell and swallow your own pride.
When people hear the name Shane Profitt or see me out or anything like that, I think the biggest thing is I want people to realize that I'm no different than nobody else. My shit stinks, number one. I put my boots on 1 foot at a time just like everybody else. I hope that my music is an escape for a lot of people because this world's crazy enough as it is. And if somebody can listen to a Shane Profitt song for that 3 minutes and 15 seconds and they just forget about all their worries in that 3 minutes and 15 seconds, I feel like I've done my job as a singer-songwriter. McChicken and McDouble and a small fry. What do you want?